Hey, hey, hey. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, sponsored by Monolith Board Games and their Mythic Battles role-playing games. We'll get into that in just a bit. Welcome aboard, everyone. Tonight is Tuesday, March 17th, 2026, St. Patrick's Day. It also happens to be live show 1300, otherwise known as 1300. Yowza. So we got lots cooking tonight. I've got giveaways galore. So hopefully many of you will be tuning in live. But I will also point out, not all of the giveaways are going to be only for the gang watching live. Know a lot of you out there watch on Memorex. Stay tuned. You will have your opportunities to win some tabletop role-playing game goodies as well. Of course, when you're not watching videos here on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you are not going to find here on YouTube. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, because this is a live show, there is chat available. Now, you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least an hour. Oh my goodness, 60 whole minutes in order to take part in chat. But if you check off that box, you want to say howdy, maybe got a question, a comment, by all means, chime in. I will do my absolute best to respond. First out the gate tonight is Keith Hulu. Semper Buffo's with us, as is DB, our good friend of the show, the Madman. James Mitchell is also hanging with the gang, as is Danny Gable. And I would not be shocked if the lovely and talented Miss Sarah D is lurking in the shadows as one of our chat moderators, as is the Madman. So hello to everybody. Hopefully everyone had a great weekend. Crazy around these here parts. We had some serious wind late last week through the weekend. We had a ton of snow. Well, not a ton. We got snow. Not a bunch, but still, it's really cold. And sadly enough, during the wind, we had shingles tear off the roof, which kind of pisses me off. Well, because it was 10 years ago that the roof was replaced, and it had a 30-year guarantee. And of course, the company that did the work is no longer in business. Yeah. And of course, if you are a homeowner and you have homeowner's insurance, you know your deductible for wind and hail damage pretty damn high. Pretty damn high. So that's what was going on around these here parts. Went and celebrated my niece Madison's birthday yesterday. So a very happy 20th to her was had. And of course, today is St. Patrick's Day. And yes, I am thus the hat. That's why you see this hat once a year. And that's if we have a live stream on St. Patrick's Day. I'm even wearing some shamrocks on a t-shirt. So there you go. That's my St. Patrick's Day garb for today. Let's see. Daryl Arrett just popped on into chat, said they got about 8 inches of snow in Montana. It's all gone now. Lots of high winds there too. I drove through Montana quite a few times, and yes, some seriously high winds. I think the windiest area I ever drove through was in Wyoming. There's a stretch in Wyoming going out west. It's between, well, no, actually, it's after you hit Rawlins on I-80. There's a stretch of about 100 miles or so, and it was like, wow. Got to be careful if you're driving, a larger size vehicle. Very easily get blown off the road or blown over. Kobold is with us tonight, as is Kathy Evans. So we've got a rockin' and rollin' chat already. And yes, Sarah D is with us tonight. Good to see you. So Sarah says the snow did not get them, not for lack of trying. Well, like I said, we got a lot of snow coming down. It was late at night until the early morning. And then by the time morning ran around, it was already starting to melt. So I think if it had stayed as cold as it had been, and it's still flipping cold here, probably would have had about 3 inches, would have been my guess. So some discussion of the number 1,300. So it reduces the 4, which resonates with stability, grounding, hard work, and building a secure foundation for your future. The power of 1,300. All right. So got lots going on tonight. So let's dive on into the news, because first up is our sponsor. That's right. Monolith Board Games earlier today launched a project to fund Mythic Battle's role-playing games, both Pantheon and Ragnarok. I've got the lowdown. 2 apocalypses, 1 lethal engine. Mythic Battles RPG brings the acclaimed board game universe to tabletop role-playing with 2 standalone core books, Pantheon, a Greek post-apocalypse, and Ragnarok, a Norse survival fantasy. Powered by a highly tactical player-facing system where the game master never rolls, you must manage your vital resources and survive the brutal death spiral to forge your legend. This is fully written, beautifully illustrated, and going to ship in less than a year. In Pantheon, the world is not as it was. Gone are the days of bright skies, full fields, and flashing blue oceans filled with sea life and plied by hardy sailors. Gone are the citadels of thought, commerce, and democracy. Gone are the times when gods walked among humanity, bringing with them their bounty, blessings, and divine presence. The world should not be as it is. The skies are darkened with purple thunderclouds, and even in clear patches, the sun, moon, and stars seem dimmed and somehow distant. The earth is rent with great fissures, its soil poisoned by venom, hate, and deep magics. Small communities lie in the ruins of great cities, while the rest of humanity huddles in hidden villages or roams the earth as starving nomads. War, a vast destructive conflict between the gods and the titans, rages over land and sea, leaving nothing but the dead in its wake. In Ragnarok, the cold of the northerly winds sweeps across the world. The crops wither and fish die. Brother fights brother, and the skies darken as the warring gods shatter the earth. Ragnarok approaches. And you are a champion of the gods, summoning your courage to grip your sword with a fire in your eyes to serve your divinity until death and beyond. Welcome to the world of Mythic Battles Ragnarok and the evolving story of the end of days. You play a champion, a brave warrior, and devoted servant to your chosen god. Determined to prove your worth, you dream of being honored in the same breath as Beowulf, Ragnar, and Lagertha. Or Lagertha? Lagertha? Sorry, that's not ringing a bell. To join the ranks of the heroes, the most beloved of the gods. The heroes sit by their side in the mighty halls of Valhalla and are raised from death to fight at Ragnarok's final battle. I should mention, I shared a Game Found preview video, went live last night. So I talk about both of these role-playing games. Of course, had to use PDFs because the physical books aren't printed yet. But I shared my thoughts about it. It's about as close to a review as you're going to get without something being a physical copy for me to share a review of. Now, I should point out, you can reserve a copy of either hardcover with PDF for a pledge of 55 euros. If you want to grab both in print with PDFs, you can do so for a pledge of 115 euros through April 2nd. Now, of course, if you get both together, there's some extra goodies that you'll receive as well. So there are a few different pledge levels to the Mythic Battles role-playing games. Expected fulfillment on this project is this November. So, fairly quick turnaround. Yes. So by all means, check out my preview video. If you are curious, there are 2 quick starts available, one for each. They are available over at DriveThruRPG. Make your life easy. You can swing on over to thegaminggang.com. I have a news piece for this. I've got links to the quick starts for you if you want to check those out. So you got a few more people popping on into chat. Harvey Chuckles is with us, as well as J-Man and Kevin R. Smith. How's about that? All right, I think I've said hello to everybody. Kevin R. Smith says, I saw that video today. Game looks cool if you can figure out the dice mechanic. It is different. I got to say, not being familiar with the board games that these are based on, it's got to be the mechanic from the board game. Dice pool, 6-sided dice. It's a blank side, 1 through 5. I thought it was actually kind of interesting. And once you get the handle of it, there's a little bit of a push your luck mechanic if you want to the proceedings. But I got to say, I thought it was pretty interesting, the dice mechanic. Once everybody wraps their heads around it, it shouldn't be a problem at all. So yes, the Dispatch is sponsored for the next couple of weeks by Monolith Board Games. On our next news piece, Monte Cook Games is taking pre-orders for the next supplement for the Magnus Files role-playing game, and I've got the latest on Make Your Statement. 9 chilling statements, 10 terrifying investigations. Delve into the archives with 10 new investigations, ready-made adventures for your investigators to embark upon. 9 new statements and 10 terrifying challenges, including investigations written by Jonathan Sims, the co-creator of the Magnus Archives and the voice of the archivist on the podcast. Explore an observatory infected by its astronomer's obsession with the dark void in what sits between the stars. Venture into the 13th floor of a building that only has 12 in There Is No 13th Floor. Face cultists so devoted to darkness they cannot be seen except when revealed by a very special light, which is actually darkness itself, in Hidden Hosts. And find yourselves tangled in a feud between 2 rival fears in Contingent Liability. But only 9 statements for 10 adventures? Sometimes the horror comes from inside the building. Disposal takes your investigators in a new direction as their employers task them with handling a dangerous artifact. The adventures in this book assume the player characters work for the Magnus Institute, or a similar organization of your creation. They're suitable for PCs of various experience, from first-time investigators to veterans of the Institute. This is a supplement for the Magnus Archives role-playing game, so it does require that core book in order to use. The 128-page hardcover with PDF can be pre-ordered for an MSRP of $50.39. The hardcover alone carries an MSRP of $44.99. This is not out in PDF as of yet, nor is it being offered as a PDF from Monte Cook Games as of the stream. Doesn't mean that a couple weeks from now we don't have it out in PDF, but just pointing that out. So kind of cool. Got some new spooky tales for the Magnus Archives. All right, Chris Lundgren has popped on into chat. Reading Aid is with us as well. So welcome to you both. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody popping on in. Moving right along, the Riverbank role-playing game is now in stores from our friends over at Kobold Press. I've got The Skinny. Is a truth universally acknowledged that somewhere between the first dainty sip of tea and the final venomously hurled piece of cake and Alice's bridge game had taken a regrettable turn. In the Riverbank role-playing game, you and a few reputable or otherwise animal friends reside in an idyllic countryside set in England, created by award-winning writer Kij Johnson. Weave a cozy narrative of social adventures, escalating situations, and impending disaster with more than a few unexpected twists. Celebrate festivals, attend Miss Badger's literary salons for the hors d'oeuvres, if nothing else, and nurture, occasionally sabotage, relationships with one another and a charming cast of non-player characters. Welcome to the Riverbank. Your story is about to begin. The 192-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $49.99. If you want to just get the PDF, you can pop on over to DriveThruRPG and score that for $29.99. You may recall, I reviewed Riverbank. In fact, that is the last review video that I had shared. Keeping in mind the Mythic Battles role-playing games is a preview, not truly a review. So if you're curious about it, by all means, check out the vid. I should also mention, last week I was talking about how the Gaming Gang is now an affiliate of Fanatical. I forgot a few months ago to tell everybody we're actually also an affiliate of Kobold Press. So if you are going to buy a physical book or soft cover, what have you, from Kobold Press, do me a huge favor. Stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our articles, like as an example, if you're curious about Riverbank, maybe you want to pick it up. Click on the review or one of the news pieces about Riverbank. Just do a search. You'll actually find our affiliate link. And of course, that helps us out quite a bit. All right, moving right along, now available in PDF from Ex Machina Games is the Ultra Modern 5 Armory. Here's the scoop. The Ultra Modern 5 Armory isn't a patch, it's the new factory standard. Wild West gunslingers, entrenched soldiers, cyberpunk samurai, high-tech mercenaries, wasteland scavengers, orbital shock troops. No matter the setting, the Armory has every item, armor, cybernetic, weapon, and vehicle you could ever possibly want in one book. You've got over 600 firearms, revolvers to railguns, pistols to artillery, crossbows to grenades, with revised firearm rules to accurately portray ranged combat within the 5e system, no matter the era. There are over 200 sets of armor, flak jackets, power suits, and super heavy mechs from the normal to the gigantic, powered by steam, magic, or nuclear reactors. You've got over 500 vehicles, civilian or military, aircraft or boats, past, present, or future. Control real or fictional vehicles with new rules meant to encompass all forms of transport. Plus, over 500 other items, drones, demolitions, toolkits, cybernetics. Control your lifestyle. Establish your fashion. From the Renaissance to the apocalypse. And you'll find multiple tech levels. Set your time period, create your setting from vintage to biopunk to space opera. Borrow from real-world items or gear inspired by pop culture. There is upgradability, alternate ammunition, customizable weapons, swappable arrowheads, vehicle modifications, both cosmetic add-ons and mechanical upgrades. You'll find this to be the definitive gearbook for 5th edition. The 377-page PDF can be had over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Sweet. So if you're using 5e for things other than Dungeons and Dragons, because there are a lot of 5e, how will we put it? Adjacent, let's say, role-playing games out there. Got a lot of stuff right here in this book, packed. As you can see, I'm sharing some examples of some of the pages of the book. All right, let's see. Who else we got popping in tonight? We got people rocking and rolling here. We've got Zarquan with us. Another good friend of the show, Agile Monk, has popped on in. Matthew Blackwell's here. Matthew Constantine. Let's see. Have I said hello to everyone? Yes, I think I have. Well, I think I have. Chris Lundgren's also pointing out that I share some pretty even-handed reviews. I do my best. I aim to, shoot straight with you. All right. So Harvey Chuckles is asking out of left field, did anyone here ever play space opera? I had it. I never ran it. Maybe I think I ran it once or twice in my teen years, in my high school years. So, but yeah, I liked it. It was trying to go for like kind of a Star Wars vibe, if I remember correctly. All righty. On to our final news piece. Cubicle 7 Games is offering a free 5e adventure to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. And I've got the deets on the Trial of the Isle. This St. Patrick's Day, Cubicle 7 is proud to celebrate their Irish heritage with a free 5e compatible encounter. In the Trial of the Isle, players are whisked away by the words of a storyteller sent to investigate an island that has risen from the sea. It's normally not a good thing. This coastal encounter will test their might and intelligence as they come face to face with the inhabitants of this strange land. This encounter is designed for 3 to 5 players of level 5. It's meant to be run in a single session. At some point in their journey, the player characters find themselves camped on a beach as night draws in. This can be a large lake or the coast. Before they settle in to rest, they notice that the sky has come alive with lights. As they watch it, they're joined by an old man who appears in their camp, seemingly from thin air. The 11-page encounter is available over at the Cubicle 7 Games website. And obviously enough, it has an Irish theme. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be Ireland rising out of the water, but it does kind of touch upon Irish myth. So very cool. And it's absolutely free. So by all means, check it out. All right. So that is it for the news this evening. Of course, I mentioned DriveThruRPG a few times. Don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you're going to go visit DriveThruRPG, Storyteller's Vault, Dungeon Masters Guild, Wargame Vault, any of the numerous One Bookshelf sites, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. And right now, while we are sponsored by Monolith Board Games, you will find our DriveThruRPG is kind of a box ad that's right up top. You won't miss it on the website. So, like I said, if you're going to go visit any of those sites, stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on that, and that way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get 5% of that sale. And all those commissions really do add up, help keep thegaminggang.com around. No joke. That's serious. Really does. Of course, if you like the video, give it a quick thumbs up. If you dig the video, if you like the channel, if you find the Gaming Gang to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, there are a couple other ways that you can support the outlet. First, by making a one-time donation by way of PayPal. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Oh, that's good. And you can become a monthly member of our Patreon. You'll find links in the show notes. Also, down in those show notes, you're going to find an invite link to our Discord server. It's absolutely free for you to sign up, hang with the gang over on Discord. So Agile Monk mentions we need to catch up. Yes, and I know what Agile Monk's talking about, I believe. Super secret project. I'm not allowed to discuss it all yet. Soon, maybe. I see Kevin King is with us tonight. Welcome aboard. Said they missed the news. That's what they get for indulging in green beer. Yeah, it's funny. I think there's a couple of, I think there's 2 or 3 Guinnesses upstairs. And I was like, maybe I should bring one down to be like, yeah. And I was like, nah, I don't need to do that. I think people get the idea. They get the idea, okay. So we got quite a few folks hanging out in chat, which is good because there are going to be giveaways. We got giveaways here, kids, coming up shortly. And I will mention there are 3 rounds of giveaways. One, I am going to be giving away bundles from Fanatical because I mentioned last week, Fanatical reached out. They wanted the Gaming Gang to be an affiliate. So now we are. So I have bundles to give away. I have one of each of the new bundles. Well, they're not new. They've been live for about 2 weeks, I think, 10 days. Because remember, Fanatical's bundles, you usually get at least a couple of months to take advantage. So I've got that. And that is going to be based upon trivia questions I'm going to ask. And these trivia questions are going to test your knowledge of the Gaming Gang. So yes, those of you who are watching who are like new to the channel, new to the stream are going to be like, really? Well, that's only one of the ways. I will share 2 other ways people can win. Now, please keep in mind, you can only win once. So when I ask the trivia questions, if you have the correct answer, you're the winner. Please refrain from answering those questions that follow. Okay? Everybody paying attention? Not going to start asking them yet. But also keep in mind, tonight is an AMA. It is an Ask Me Anything this evening. I already have tomorrow's topic ready. I'll talk about that later on. But I figured since it's the 1300 live stream, St. Patrick's Day, we're all kicking back, we're relaxing, having a good time. Let's just do an AMA. We don't need to get, invested in a topic or anything like that. DB said, I thought you said anime. Yeah, it's all from here on out. I will be animated. You'll notice very little movement in the background, but my mouth will move. All right. So Augusto Chuco is with us in chat. Welcome. I believe it might be a first-time visit, so make yourself comfortable. Let's see who else. Coco B is with us. Coco B said, "Did I hear free beer?" Yeah. Has anyone ever been into a bar where they had a sign that said "free beer tomorrow"? I was getting a kick out of that. Let's see. Bard the Bearwolfson is with us. Trent Turner is also joining us. I believe it might be a first-time visit live for Trent as well. Welcome aboard. All right. So you'll have a few minutes to come up with some questions. As we're doing the AMA, I will also roll out the trivia questions for the giveaways. Like a plan? Oops. Sorry. I got a little too excited. I was like, woohoo, yeah. Actually bumped it with my elbow. I was like, hey, whoa. Hold on there. Hold on there a minute, Babaloo. I'll do the thinning around here. Anyway, we will get into the AMA/giveaways. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
Well, here we are. We're all set for the St. Patrick's Day Sheepdog Trials. It's a capacity crowd of 16. And first up is Gareth Longgrass with his Border Collie, Roy. 3-time winner here.
Oh, wait a minute.
He's a great competitor, this one. He's a legend in Gloucestershire. But we're in Yorkshire today, so that counts for nothing. Jim? Jim?
He's taking a lovely wide berth there. Being very careful not to spook them. This is a good start.
Yes, 10 out of 10 for the outrun. That's great work there from the young dog. They're bang on course for where they want to go. This lad is a wizard at whistling.
And he's got them all through. Yes, this is nice. Nice to see.
Now for the first real test. Can he get them past the couch?
Well, this obstacle has proved tricky in the past. A night in watching the big game, it's always tempting.
Oh. But he's done it. Down the field they go, perfect formation. Now, on to the Indian restaurant. He has to be careful here not to lose the big lad.
Yes, a curry's a great way to end the night, but it's way too early for that.
Please. Come in, sir.
Oh, that's nice. It's good stockmanship, is this?
Oh, we have a split. 3 have made a run for the girls and, well, who can blame them? Look at that. I think we could even lose the shepherd to that one. This obstacle, it never fails to catch some of them out.
Oh, what's happening now? Oh, we've got one round the back. This is disastrous. That's 5 points gone, is that?
It's edge-of-the-seat stuff, this, Jim. You could hear a pin drop if we weren't in a field. Oh, and through the drive gates they go.
Oh, it looks like one of them has got a text from the missus. That could be the end of his night.
Oh, but look at that. Straight into the pub they go. That is lovely stuff. Textbook herding right there, all over them, like a rash. Who is your daddy? That's what the dog is saying. Look and learn.
The crowd's going wild here.
Round up your mates for a Guinness. This St. Patrick's Day, Saturday, March 17th.
I have lived through many ages. I have seen suffering in the darkness. Yet, I have seen beauty thrive in the most fragile of places.
one day before the Vikings attack Kells.
You must go where I cannot. Pangerbon, Pangerbon, Nilsa sail shack you. Disney Babin Pure, Hawk shall be a
So I'm going to imagine the look on many of your faces as that Guinness commercial was running was like, what the hell is this? What's going on here? Hey, a little bit of a theme tonight with the brief intermission, eh? Wonder what day it is. Now, I had mentioned briefly that you can become a member of our Patreon. I always like to say thanks to our Patreon members during the live streams. So, tip of the cap to quite a few of you who are hanging out live right now. Caval, Kevin R. Smith, Talzak, Sean O'Donnell, Herman Letman, Gustavo Cavalho, Matt Weiss, Kevin King, GameCat, RPG Munch, Tier 2 DM, Pete Strakulich, Dan Webb, Tessie Trekkie, Agile Monk, and the Madman. And Agile Monk just made a $10 super chat for the sheep herding video on St. Patrick's Day. Round up some of your mates for a Guinness. You know, why not? Why not? Some discussion of FGU games, Fantasy Games Unlimited. Let's see. I believe Harvey, yes, is the Harvey Chuckles has been bringing that up. We discuss the old FGU stuff every once in a while. I have a very soft spot for Bushido. I had Space Opera. I had Aftermath. What else? Oh, I think I had Chivalry and Sorcery, which is still around. Completely different company, but still, it is still around. I think it's in its 6th edition, 7th edition, something like that. I think I'm forgetting one. Oh, did I say Daredevils? So I never had Merc. I don't remember having Merc at least. But yeah, I always dug it. Maybe I forgot to say Space Opera. But yeah, I had whenever I'd see an FGU box come out, I'd be like, yeah, I'll get that. I played Bushido at a game day a couple of times. And I think that's, we rolled up Aftermath characters at the same place the game day was. But that was it. That was about it. All right, let's see. James Eck is with us in chat. Welcome. I think I had somebody else just pop in. Let's take a quick peek back. You know me, I always like to try to say hello. Sometimes in the winter, and Pie Company Guitars, I think those are 2 new live visitors in chat with us. So welcome aboard. All right. So as I mentioned, we're going to do a little bit of an AMA if you want. I mean, it's, otherwise I'll just wrap up the show after we do the giveaways, huh? Completely up to you. But we're going to start off with the Fanatical Bundles. So as I mentioned, if you tuned in a little bit late, trivia questions attach this, and these trivia questions are going to test your knowledge of myself and the gaming gang. So if you're fairly new to the channel and things like that, there's more coming. So, Pie Company Guitar says, no, it's just Danny. Oh, yeah, just change things up to confuse me. Fine. All right, so the first bundle we'll be giving away is the Paranoia XP RPG collection from Fanatical. This has pretty much everything that was ever released for Paranoia XP. So before I ask the question, once again, I'm going to let you know, first person to get the correct answer is the winner. You may only win once. So if you know the answer to other questions after you've won, please don't chime in. Please don't chime in. Chris Lendgren asks, what is XP? Paranoia XP is the edition, I believe it was the edition prior to the latest edition. So Paranoia XP was still Mongoose Publishing. So there you have that. All right. First trivia question. What was the name of the gaming club that I was in? I was actually president of, I want to say it was sophomore and junior year. That might have even been senior year. Anyway, what was the name of the gaming club that I was in with most of my high school friends at Lane Tech in Chicago? And I see that Mark Hawkswell is joining us. Welcome aboard. So let's see what's going on in chat here. Oh, Kevin King said they're going to try to raise a glass at John Martin, an ancestor, an Irish coach boy who ran off with the daughter of the manor in 1840. Very nice. Very nice. So, all right. Doesn't anybody want to take a shot at the question? Nobody wants to answer. There's not going to be much of giveaways going on. So DB's talking about Dawn of the Dead. Wasn't Dawn of the Dead, the board game was from, if I remember right, I think it was SPI. I think it was SPI. So, so yeah, some discussion of powers and perils. You know, I saw Chris Lundgren had asked, I think, was that what Chris Lundgren was asking about? From Avalon Hill, how you can get a hold of it? There is no way legally. All right, Mark Hawkswell guesses Hellfire Club. No. Funny enough, the Gaming Gang is a little bit of a take on what our club was called. So, DB says, I remember you mentioned the name in the rival group. I can't recall. Yes, because it's been mentioned a few times. It has been mentioned a few times. Like I said, this round of giveaways is going to be so I'm trying to remember what the rival club was called. If I remember right, I think it might have been Dungeon Master. Oh, Agile Monk's close. Agile Monk is close. Says the gaming club. Danny says the gaming guys. Bard the Bear Wolfson has the correct answer. Ding, 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 ding. It was the Gamers Guild. I don't know how Bard the Bear Wolfson just pulled it. Was it on Google? Yeah, because you might be able to Google foo a little of this. I can't guarantee you if you can. So yes. So Bard the Bear Wolfson is the winner of the Paranoia XP RPG collection bundle from our new friends over at Fanatical. Yes. Sometimes in the winter says Copilot didn't know the answer. Yeah, that would be kind of tricky. That would be a little tricky. Like I said, just check Jeff's Wikipedia page. I don't have a Wikipedia page. Nobody would bother putting together a Wikipedia page for me or the gaming gang. Grim Shady 2, the Revengeinator, is with us again. Welcome back. All right, next is the Dungeon Crawl Classics Purple Planet and Dying Earth RPG collection. It is also another bundle. I've got my Purple Planet review on the horizon. Sadly, I really wasn't able to shoot much video out. Well, I'll be honest. I didn't shoot any video outside of the preview video that I did for Monolith Board Games because the GameFound project launched today. They wanted the video out as quickly as possible, even ahead of the project launching. I received 600 pages in PDFs, and I had all of 3 days to read through them all, comprehend it all, put together a script. And you know me, I normally don't do a script. So I put together a little bit of a script, and then I had to put together all the graphics and stuff. And yeah, so I was invested in getting that preview video out. And I will say I was compensated for it. I tell you that right off the bat in the video too. So, all right. So here's the question for the Dungeon Crawl Classics Purple Planet and Dying Earth RPG collection. Who were the 3 players that made up my gang I ran Call of Cthulhu for in the 1980s and 1990s? You don't need last names. You just need to remember the first names. This one's going to be tricky. It's going to be tricky here. If you watch this stream at all, you're going to know one of them because they get mentioned all the time. Trent Turner says Bob, Steve, and Harvey. I have never known anyone named Harvey. Max Apocalypse is popping on in as well. All right, so, hey, DB's got one of them. And it's funny because DB, he or she, points out it's 2 L's in Elliot. It's actually the 2 T's that's the more important. So, all right. So there's only one there so far. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, and Mike. That's 4. I said 3. Yep. Coco B says it's Elliot, his brother Daryl, and his other brother Daryl. No, my brother, no one's brother was involved. Well, okay. I take that back. I mean, we have brothers. Well, one of them didn't. Oh, the madman, so close. Oh, so close. I'll give you the Elliot's nephew. That's Paul. Or that was Paul, I should say. All right. So we know it's Elliot. Elliot's nephew, Paul. The other person's name is very, very common. Very, very common. He has never popped on in to chat. He knows what I do. He kind of follows the website, but I don't believe he's ever popped in. See now. Oh, there's those. Who's going to get the combination right? Who? The names are out there. I think. No, sorry, I take that back. There's only 2. 2 of the names are floating out there. I will give you another hint. 2 letters. The name is 2 letters. That should be fairly easy. And it's a shortened form of a longer name. Dun, 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 dun. Should I start playing like the Star Trek Spock Kirk battle music? Dun, 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 dun. All right, so who's going to put all 3 names together here? Who's going to be the first one to put all 3 names together? The names are out there. They're floating out there in chat. It's the Madman. Let me double check. Let me make sure. It is the Madman. Yes, it was Elliot, Paul, and Ed. Elliot Miller, Paul Miller, and Ed Ruprecht were the 3 that I ran games for. So, of course, if you do win, like usual, shoot me an email from your Gmail account that's associated with your YouTube, and I will send you your redeemable key for Fanatical. DB said I was going to guess Elliot, Paul, and Pi. Yeah. Guess nobody fucking pays attention to anything I say on this show. No, just joking. All right. This might be a little easier. Next up, we've got the Cymborum, or as I used to say, Cymborum. Actually, I think that's how it is pronounced, Cymborum. Had somebody bust my chops about my pronunciation. Trent Turner asked, did Ed Ruprecht have an eye patch? He hated that movie when it came out. For years, it was like, oh, Ruprecht, huh? Just like Elliot when E.T. came out. For a few years, if he told somebody, because Elliot always, I shouldn't say always, he usually went by his nickname Chip because he's a junior. So his family would call him Chip, like Chip off the old block, right? So in fact, that's how he introduced himself to me when I met him, like the second day of high school. Hey, I'm Chip. Although he doesn't really go by that anymore, although it's fine if his family calls him Chip. And when E.T. came out, everybody'd be like, Elliot. If he was like, you know, oh yeah, I'm Elliot. Like, Elliot. All right. So for the Cymborum Dark Fantasy Role-Playing Game Bundle, who are the 4 players who currently make up the gang? And I will allow for just the relationship of one of them to be used, because I'm taking a wild guess. Most people haven't caught the name too often. But who's the gang I normally now run role-playing games for? And one of them was one of the answers to the previous question. Matthew Constantine says, I had a friend who went by Chip. His name was Sterling, so I kind of get it. So DB says, nephew Cameron, that's not the relationship. All right, so you have to put all these together. In one sentence, in chat. So DB's giving the answers away for somebody else to be like, bum, 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 bum. There you go. DB just said, why am I putting these out one line at a time? I think what you might have to Google foo this. Trent Turner says, wasn't Chip the brother in Weird Science? I don't think he was Chip. And No Limelight Productions has joined us. Welcome again. So you might have to bust out some Google foo as far as the 4th. But I will give you a clue, see how quickly people can jump on this. They are a contributor to thegaminggang.com. Yes, it was Chet. Harvey Chuckles says, I reckon it was Chet then. Yes, it was Chet. I was sitting there thinking, what was his name in it? Was Weird Science brother Chat? It was Chat GPT. All right, Matthew Constantine's rocking on out. Yeah, I can tell that this probably is not very exciting watching this, especially for those who are going to be tuning in on Memorex. They're going to be like, really? Really? So 3 of the 4 are floating out there in chat. There's only one left. And I think someone guessed this for the last question. Keith Ulu says, Elliot, Cameron, Chip. Well, Elliot is Chip. So Chris Lundgren's actually over at the Gaming Gang taking a peek because he got, he's like, Elliot Miller. No, and Sammy does not live in the Chicagoland area. And Kevin R. Smith actually spelled her name correctly. Well, no, we've got other contributors. Wow, I'm shocked that nobody has gotten this yet. So for those of you who are going to be tuning in and watching this on Memorex, yes, you can probably just jump ahead. Cooperative Waffles is in. Oh, okay. So there's still, Zarquan's like right on the cusp. Right on the cusp. I will tell you that the other person has not been named, but the relationship has. I don't know why everybody's like fascinated by Chet. Was it the Chip thing? Was it talking about Chip? Now everybody's into like Chet. Next up is Chad. Yep, let's talk about Chad. All right, this next, I should tell you the next. You know what? I think the next 3 are going to actually be far easier. All right, James Mitchell. You missed the T, but I'll give it to him. So, James Mitchell has Elliot. Yes, my best friend Elliot Miller is part of the gang. Sadly, he's not able to play as often as we'd like. You would have caught, because I have mentioned the name a few times. Not as much as everybody else, but so yes, it's Elliot, my nephew Cameron, my brother Greg, and Cameron's girlfriend, Kara. So James Mitchell is the winner of the Symbaroum Dark Fantasy RPG bundle. Next, we've got the Tales of Sand and Scales 5e D&D bundle. This is all Kobold Press stuff. So, name 3 role-playing games that I have shared why you should play videos for. There are 9 in total. All you got to do is tell me 3. First person to tell me 3 of those games is going to win the Tales of Sand and Scales 5e D&D bundle. Here's everybody's going to go search the channel now. All right, I got to take a look at the channel here on YouTube. Doom, 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 doom. This one's pretty easy. And they are big time role-playing games. Shattered Dark. Cooperative Waffles is just, flailing here. CNC, Bjorg, which there are multiples. All right, hold on. A lot of guesses. So, the winner on this one is Cthulhu. Dungeon Crawl. Okay, so here are the 9 videos: Traveler, Call of Cthulhu, RuneQuest, Dungeon Crawl Classics, Basic Fantasy, Delta Green, Broncolonia, Index Card RPG, and Castles and Crusades. So Cthulhu is our winner. Next up is the Game Master's No Prep Book of Random Tables RPG bundle. There are a bunch of PDFs in this bundle. So currently, and for quite some time, for a few years now, the name of the live stream is the Gaming Gang Dispatch. But that's not the original title of the stream. What was the original title of the stream? And for some ungodly reason, I don't know why, I always get in the recommended videos that run along the side in your YouTube feed, for some stupid ass reason, I always get the test stream. Check out the test stream. And it's like, why do you keep showing me this damn thing? Because it's got 50 some views. Number one, it was just a test. So, and yes, Kevin King is right on the money. It's the Daily Dope. And when I first started, I was streaming on YouTube and Twitch, which I stopped doing a long time ago. I think I may have done a week or so on Twitch. And I would get people who would pop into chat, and they thought that the show was about drugs. I was like, no, it's not. The dope, as in, the latest info, blah, 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 right? I've got the dope. When I say I've got the dope, I don't mean, I got the drugs. It means I've got the info. I've got the scoop. Give me the dope, man. So yes, I was like, oh shit, I got to change the name of this. Hey, Chris Lundgren's chiming in with the Daily Dispatch. Nope, the Daily Dope. Max Apocalypse says, Chet's chums. Yes, the Daily Dope and Chet and friends. Yes. All right. So here's the final. Here is the final bundle giveaway. It is the adventure bundle for Shadow Dark. We'll point out it is not, I shouldn't say it is not. It does not include the Shadow Dark core rulebook, but it is a bundle of a bunch of third-party Shadow Dark role-playing game releases. What publisher have I interviewed the most times? And it is a publisher I'm pretty tight with. And we go way back. Agile Monk's like, the final bundle. I'm assuming that's what it's supposed to be, right? Like the final countdown. Let's see. Just double checking something. Yeah, okay. All right. Just double checking to make sure that the person who guessed it correctly had not already won. Yes, it is Cubicle 7. Back in the day, I used to start interviewing them. It was Cubicle 7 Entertainment. Now they prefer to be known as Cubicle 7 Games. And let's see, I interviewed them. I interviewed Dominic. First Gen Con that Elliot and I went to representing the gaming gang, right, as the press. And every year since, except once during COVID, when Cubicle 7 did not show up, I have done an interview with either Dominic McDowell or my good friend T.S. Lucart, sometimes both of them. Last year, I interviewed them both separately to talk about different stuff. So there you have it. All right. Some cool bundles to give away. Let's say a big thank you to our new pals over at Fanatical. Plan to see bundle giveaways from here on out. So as far as I understand, and maybe I misunderstood, but as far as I understand at this point, whenever they've got a new RPG bundle, I will have at least one key to give away to a lucky viewer. All right. So some of you out there going, oh man, I don't watch this shit enough to know this nonsense, these questions. I get it. I understand. So we got 2 other waves of giveaways, although there are no trivia questions or anything involved with it. Yeah, because the stream's running till 11 o'clock Central tonight. All right. So first of all, this is open to anybody. So this is open. You didn't have to be watching live. This is open to everybody out there. So wave number 1. 5 lucky viewers. I guess I should say 5 lucky commenters are going to be chosen at random. Now, if you already won a bundle, you're not in the running. Sorry. But if you have not won anything, well, then this is wide open, right? So all you got to do, be a subscriber to the channel. So that is a must. The other wave, you won't have to, but for this, yes. Be a subscriber to the channel. Share a comment on the video. And have something to say. Okay, don't just be like, yay, I want to win something. Right? So, yeah, a sentence or 2. Easy peasy, right? I'm not even going to ask you, oh, please, sir, thumbs up, please, sir, more thumbs up, sir. No. If you want to, that's cool. I'm completely fine with that. But I can't tell if you do it or not. So yes, be a subscriber to the channel, leave a comment, and on Thursday's show, so you don't have a lot of time, on Thursday's show, I will reveal those 5 lucky commenters, and you will be able to choose one of the following in PDF. The Call of Cthulhu Investigator's Handbook. I think it's called the handbook. I don't think it's the guide. Old School Essentials Classic Fantasy. The Traveler 2nd edition core rulebook with, the 2022 updates from Mongoose, right? So we're not talking GDW, we're talking Mongoose Traveler. Cyberpunk Red or Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. You'll be able to choose one of those if you're a winner. That's the second wave of giveaways. Here's the third wave of giveaways. You don't even have to be a subscriber to the channel. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to give away those same role-playing game core books, your choice of one of those. But to get into the running, you need to go to thegaminggang.com and leave a substantial comment on any post. So it could be a news piece, it could be a review video, it could be a live stream video, what have you. And when I say substantial, I'm not saying you have to write a novella. I'm saying just be like, oh, hey, oh, like at a news piece or something. Wow, you know, that looks really interesting. I'll have to check that out. That's all. Just don't want to be like, you know, I don't want comments like first. Okay, great. Thanks. Thanks a lot. Savage Splendor is with us in chat. I believe it's a first-time visit, maybe live with us. They said they lurk sometimes when they catch the live stream. Yeah, we get lurkers. That's fine. Lurkers are quite welcome. Cooperative Waffle says, the Gaming Gang website, substantial comment checked. So yeah, so I will choose 5 lucky commenters over at thegaminggang.com. Same thing. Same thing is going to be the prize, right? So your selection of one of those core books, and I will announce the winners on Thursday's show. So good number of giveaways. I'm trying to, you know, don't want to necessarily be a subscriber. Okay, that's fine. And how about you go check out the website? Which, funny enough, so many people think that it's the YouTube channel that's like the big deal. It's not. It's the website. This is just kind of like an extra bonus, I guess, on top. It's the cherry on top. Maybe a rotted cherry. No, it's a maraschino cherry. Ugh, it doesn't even taste like a cherry. All right. So not much of an AMA. Does anybody want to ask a question? I was asking all the questions, the trivia questions. There you go, Cooperative Waffles. Here gets a comment, there gets a comment, everywhere a substantial comment. Kevin R. Smith says, and you can go to the website and comment now. Well, you have to wait to comment on the video. There you go, right. Get in the running. And I will do my best to make sure there's no doubling up. So if you win from commenting on the video, then you won't win from commenting on the website. But do it anyway, because you won't know if you've won until Thursday. So Kev King asks, what happened to that RPG you were designing across several episodes? Well, funny enough, and I do have, I think that's the bestiary down here, right? Oh, no, it's a core book. Adventures Dark and Deep from Joseph Block. I think that's how his last name is pronounced. Who was kind enough to send me a copy of the core book, as well as the bestiary. So stay tuned. I will have reviews of that. Both of those, I should say. This is like 600 pages, so it's going to be a while. So we were kind of working on a fantasy game that was going to be relatively rules light. It was going to be a roll under the attribute. So if you had let's say a strength of 14 and you had a challenge where his strength was going to be the attribute you needed to utilize, rolling on a 20-sided die, maybe there's some modifiers. Regardless, 13 or less would succeed. Funny enough, that's sort of how this works. I was like, oh, hey, how about that? Now, I will point out, Adventures Dark and Deep is certainly not rules light. It is essentially Joseph Block's, I guess it's what he believes the second edition of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons would have been if Gary Gygax had still been at TSR. Because I guess over the years, Gygax had shared a lot of stuff online about, what his designs would have been and blah, 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 so on and so forth. But it was kind of funny. I was like, wow, look at that. Harvey Chuckles has FGU on the brain, man. It's been so long since I saw Bushido and Aftermath. Yeah, they were roll under. All right, we got some new folks popping on into chat. Or at least one. Oh no, there we go. Ravenclaw 74. Welcome aboard. And Marcus Darrington, welcome to you also. So I'll tackle, you guys had a shot at the AMA a while ago. Now you're all hitting me up with questions when I'm getting ready to wrap this up. I will tackle a couple more questions. But anyway, I don't have the time to invest in creating a role-playing game when I'm doing this kind of stuff. Just like I got an email asking me, I guess this is part of the AMA, right? That how come I don't interview more creators and stuff? And I know some jerk off one time, one of those D&D dipshits, as I like to refer to them, which like, all they do is hate on the hobby. They had said that no one in the hobby likes me or some shit like that. It's like, that's why you never have any interviews, blah, blah, blah. I don't really have time. If you look, you will find that most outlets that do a lot of interviews, that's what they do. They do interviews with creators. They don't do, live streams 3 nights a week. They don't try to get at least 2 review videos out every week, sometimes more than that. So that's why you don't really see too many interviews. I mean, if people reach out and they're like, hey, man, I'd like to do an interview, I'm all for that. But I don't necessarily seek out people to do interviews with because I'm too busy. That's the reality of it, right? Because it's not only just the videos, I also got a website where, there's comic book stuff on the website every week that gets posted. Now, granted, I'm not the contributor for that, but I still have to go through all the process of vetting those items that get posted. And then, of course, news pieces. Every news piece that I talk about here on the show also gets a news piece on the website. So, but yeah, that's why, to answer the question I got, why don't I interview more creatives? That's why. I like interviewing people. I interview people at conventions all the time. Stephen from Roll for Combat is popping on in. Welcome. Jason Volk D&D is popping on in also, saying congrats on 1,300 episodes. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And welcome to chat. I don't recognize the nickname, so thanks for taking time out to say hello to us tonight. All right. So that is the answer to that question. As far as the previous question about what happened to the role-playing game we were kind of putting together, we were having some fun with it. And then right about that same time, I was like, yeah, you know what? It's not easy to do a topic every night or 3 topics a week. And I'm like, well, let's go back to doing the first looks at stuff. So we kind of moved away from that too. So that kind of led to it. But the reality is, if you check out those videos, the core of the game is there. I mean, it really is. I mean, we really didn't get into, like, we didn't get too in depth with the monsters and stuff. But yeah, we talked a little bit about magic. We talked about combat, talked about the core mechanics and stuff like that. So, Kevin R. Smith says Gygax also wrote some stuff in the 80s about what he wanted to put in second edition, or so I've heard. Yeah, I think that's a lot of what Joseph has used. So, Max Apocalypse asks, any favorite mainstream board game? Well, my favorite board game is Twilight Struggle. Now, I guess I wouldn't necessarily say it's really mainstream, but it is an evergreen for GMT. I mean, I don't think we're ever going to see that game go out of print. Only way it goes out of print is if GMT were to go belly up at some point. I don't think that's going to be happening. They're a pretty well-run company, especially when they do the P500, where it's like, well, we're not going to send anything off to the printers until we have enough orders, right? So, let's see, mainstream. If you're like talking about games like maybe like Wingspan, I got to be honest, I have not played the board game Wingspan, but I have played it digitally. It just didn't do it for me. But I guess I would say Pandemic. And I'm not a super huge fan of Pandemic, but I would say out of like, how about Carcassonne? I love Carcassonne. And I think it's mainstream enough. I am not a fan of Settlers of Catan. To me, it's too dry. I like stuff that's got a little bit of a theme to it. Not that Carcassonne is like super heavy into theme, but you are putting together a French countryside. So, yeah, okay. So I would say Carcassonne as far as that goes. Agile Monk asks, I'm going to take this question and then one more. Agile Monk's got 2 questions answered. Whoa. No, actually, no, he didn't. The other one was Kevin King. Strike that remark. What's been one of my favorite videos that I've done over the course of 1,300 live streams? Wow. Gosh. I can't honestly think of like a favorite. I would say there have been episodes that kind of stood out. I think the live stream that stood out to me the most is when I pushed back on that, what is the consent form or whatever that Shauna Germain is kind of the author of. And it all just started off because I had somebody email me and tell me that somebody that has been playing at their table for years showed up with this consent form. And there's some odd stuff on it. So I pushed back about how, really? I mean, I can see if you're like at a game store and you're trying to put together a group. Yeah, Agile Monk says the session 0 consent form. Yeah, essentially, yes. So it's like what? And then on Twitter, some self-appointed nutbag was like harassing me about it. And about, oh, well, like, I'm just going through like, oh, well, psychologically, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, whatever, And then I talked about it at the next show and I was pissed. I was fucking irritated. And I mean, I wasn't like, screaming or anything, but she she commented something like, "Oh, you were practically in tears." And I was like, "In tears?" I'm like, "No, I was pissed, dummy." It wasn't a guy. Cooperative Waffles is the Twitter guy here today. It was a woman. And it was some D&D content creator. Didn't have like much of a following in that. So Pete Straklich is with us in chat. He said, "I like when Jeff pushed back to Shadow Dark and Kelsey showed up. That was fucking epic." Well, I think, and it probably was more my fault than anything else. I think something was getting misconstrued because I know there are a lot of people out there who, I don't know if it's so much anymore, but at the time, after it had such a successful Kickstarter, and a lot of content creators had shared videos about it. As Miss Sarah D is rocking on out, good to see you once again. Hope we see you tomorrow night. But it was sort of like, I didn't understand all the hate that Shadow Dark was getting. To me, it was stupid. And to me, it felt like there was more under the surface than just your typical, "Oh, yeah, here's the latest hotness, blah, 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 blah." I thought there was a bit more to it. And then, yeah, Kelsey showed up in chat. And she was talking about, I didn't pay people and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, that's not what I was saying. Because the big deal people have pushed with Kelsey was that she paid all these content creators to make videos, right? It's like I just shared a GameFound preview video for the Mythic Battles role-playing games, right? Our sponsor. I just did a video, and yes, I was compensated for it, and I point that out in the first 2 minutes of the video, if even that. And it was my understanding that the only person she paid was Ben Milton. And I guess that's just his deal. That's his thing, right? I don't know. I have no idea. Anyway, but yeah, I didn't think that was that big a deal. Funny enough, I interviewed Kelsey at Page, and we had a great interview. It was a lot of fun because I've had a chance to talk with her at conventions. I just haven't gotten to interview her. So like at Gen Con, she had like zero time for anybody. She was running all over the place. So I wasn't able to interview her there. So of course, did the interview, and that was on Thursday. That was on the first day. And it was like, okay, they didn't have the live stream going. So we had to record it to the action camera that was used. So then, of course, once I finished up my interviews, they were able to get the live stream online. They were able to get it up. But so anyway, so I asked multiple times to get the files so I could edit them, so I could at least release the interviews I did, because I did 3 or 4 interviews, and they were all really good. And the one that I really wanted was with Kelsey. Never heard shit. Don't get me started on Page, I'll tell you right now. But yeah, that kind of pissed me off. I asked more than 3 times. Hey, could you just pull those files and just, upload them to like a Dropbox or like Google Drive or something, anything like that. I'll pull them. I'll do the editing. I'll try to clean up the color balance because it was awful in the videos. The audio was also terrible. So I was gonna try to clean all that up. No, nobody bothered. Couldn't be bothered. So Agile Monk's asking a question that I just won't answer, which is actually an answer in itself. So yeah, so I was like, I gave up. I was like, all right, whatever. I'm not part of your clique. So anyway, I mean, I might as well just say this, right? Who gives a shit? I was supposed to be a special guest at the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo 3. Now, I understood they were bringing me on to do interviews for a certain period of time each day. That was fine. Yeah, I was cool with that. They gave Elliot a pass, got us a room. You know, we paid for our travel expenses and food and stuff like that. At no time whatsoever did I ever feel like I was like a special guest. I felt like essentially an employee. And a certain individual seemed to go out of their way to like snub me because, and I believe I mentioned this on one of the live shows, that the setup for the people who were doing interviews was like real last minute. None of the people that they had scheduled had actually confirmed these times or anything like that. And I found that out ahead of time because I had reached out to each of the people who had been assigned to me. Plus, you know, I'd already set up some interviews as well. But it, you know, as a gamer, people had a blast. And yeah, I get it. You know, it's a convention that's, you know, just getting off the ground and stuff. But I certainly did not feel like a special guest in any way, shape, or form. Savage Splendor says, the more I hear about Paige, the more I'm kind of glad I've put off going down to it. Like I said, as a player, all I heard from people was what a great time they were having. Now, you also have to keep in mind, I go to a lot of conventions far larger than Paige, so my expectations tend to be different, right? But I mean, I can, like, when I go to like Gamehole Con, I don't expect Gamehole Con to be an Origins or a Gen Con by any stretch. So I didn't expect that from Paige either. So, you know, it was a lot of local people had come in to game. They had a great time. There was lots going on. I'm just saying, like, the behind the scenes stuff, just some of it rubbed me the wrong way. And then other people who were involved with it were fantastic. They really were. It was just one particular individual who I'm not going to name was kind of dickish to me. And I was like, well, whatever. And that was it. I mean, that really was it. Elliot will attest to that. I was sort of like, yeah, whatever. Anywho. All right. So there you go. I spilled the beans, man. But I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from going to the next one. And I guess they're doing some other conventions on East Coast as well. Because if you're going as a gamer, you'll have a good time. So there is that. All right. Anyway, so I guess that is it for the questions this evening, which is fine. That's cool. Anyway, if you won tonight, make sure to shoot me an email. I will not probably get back to you until tomorrow with those codes. And then if you have tuned in late, I'm going to select 5 lucky commenters on this video for a giveaway. It's going to be your choice. Go back a little bit. You'll find out what it was. Going to go through the process of repeating it all over again. And then I also am going to do the same giveaway to 5 commenters over on thegaminggang.com. This will be, you know, through, Well, essentially, it'll be through Thursday's live show. DB says, so the next AMA is at 1,400 streams? I gotta be honest, I don't think people really, have much to ask me anyway. So it's like, okay. So, I don't know, 50 streams, something like that. If I run out of an idea for something, I guess I will. So here's tomorrow's topic. Some of you, or maybe all of you, have actually heard that Wizards of the Coast is rolling out a survey. It's live now because they want to find out what you think of Dungeons and Dragons and how they've done with Dungeons and Dragons. I haven't taken a peek at it yet. I am going to tonight. And tomorrow's topic is, what do you really want Wizards of the Coast to know about what you think of Dungeons and Dragons? And of course, I am going to shorten that up as far as the title, something along the lines of what WotC needs to know from you about D&D. Probably something like that, right? So that will be tomorrow's topic. And no, it's not just going to be bashing Wizards of the Coast and D&D. We are going to discuss, though. Savage Splendor says, Wizards of the Coast going to GaryCon this weekend, I guess. They were shocked to hear that. We'll talk a little more about this tomorrow, but I sort of have the impression Wizards of the Coast is trying to mend some fences, rebuild some bridges. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think part of the survey thing, too, is to kind of test the response as far as AI, because I know the powers that be at least Hasbro, they really want to go heavy into AI. And a lot of fans of Dungeons and Dragons want nothing to do with it. So I think some of that is testing the waters, because it wasn't it like a week or so ago? The new, new head of Dungeons and Dragons or something. They're always changing these people around. Said that there won't be AI because people don't want it. I don't know about that. Keith Lewis says WotC nuked all the bridges and poisoned the streams they went over. Boomerman Dan Webb had popped in. I didn't have a chance to say hello, so I'll say hello now. Said, so a non-bashing cage match on WTC about D&D tomorrow? No. I didn't say there won't be any bashing. What I'm trying to say is it's not going to be the clickbaity, I hate this hobby, but I supposedly love this hobby, but all I do is spew hatred. It's not going to be one of those kind of streams, is what I'm trying to say. It is going to be more even-handed, I believe. Because something you're going to want to keep in mind is Dungeons and Dragons is not being produced nowadays for me and people like me or people who are in my same age range. And the sooner the grown-yards finally get that through some of their thick skulls, the happier they're going to be. Cooperative Wobble says WotC salted the earth ahead of themselves instead of withdrawing. Like I said, it's not going to be like, oh, a no bashing zone. No, absolutely not. But we are not start getting into bullshit like, oh, you go woke, you go broke. Because if you follow this show, you know that I don't believe that nonsense either. But anyway, so if you want to tune in, we'll talk. We'll chat about it. I'm going to take a look to see exactly what is on that survey. I think it's more like a strongly agree, strongly disagree kind of thing. We'll see. We'll find out. All righty. So that is it for this time out. Thank you very much for tuning in to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, as well as the 1300 live stream. Yikes. Here on the Gaming Gang channel. If you watch live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, you get a tip of the cap. Because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company while I'm sharing the news and trying to get the correct answers to trivia questions so I can give stuff away. And, answering some AMA questions as well. Of course, I know a lot of folks out there, you don't get an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you for taking time out to watch any of the videos here on the channel. I really do appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also let you know when I share other videos, such as my Game Found preview video for our sponsors, Monolith Board Games, and their Mythic Battles role-playing games, Pantheon and Ragnarok. I'll be back tomorrow. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer, and as always, I certainly hope every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.